we were shit. We were so fucking shit. In reality, we probably should have stopped like fucking 8 years ago. Hello, I'm Pearce from The Claws, and we're an indie rock band from Brum.
You recently released your debut album, Victim of a Casual Thing, which has had an insane response and even got you guys a #1 album on the independent charts. How has this experience been and how will it influence your next projects?
It's been mental, man. I mean, we started this band when we were just kids coming out of school, just messing around really, and we thought then all we ever wanted to do was just, conquer Birmingham, and now to have an album out, and watching it go to #1 in the indie charts, and the top 20 records, it's just mental, and it's just gonna spur us on for #2. #3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll do as many as we will while people want it, innit? So
#2, is that on the way?
yeah, man. As soon as #1 was finished, I started on #2. So we're putting our heads together now after this tour, and yeah, we ain't stopping here. So yeah.
Talking about this earlier as well, about your song "In My Element." Well, now it's just "Element." You've recently shared on Instagram the story about what happened behind that. Could you just provide anyone a bit more clarity as to what actually happened and what is led you re-recording it for the new album?
Yeah, man. Well, we were just kids when we wrote and released that. We were like 19. We didn't really know what we were doing then. Arguably still we don't have a clue now. But I mean, like after, it got some traction after we released it, and Universal wanted to come and sweep us up. So we signed this deal with them, and then COVID hit like 4 or 5 months later. Was that start of 2020, was it? So we kind of, the label that we were on lost all their kind of cash flow and ended up kind of folding. So we ended up losing our label, and with it the song that we'd signed over, which was Element. And then we kind of had to pick ourselves back up after that and start again after COVID finished. But we always thought, because it was the kind of song that gave us our break, and it made us, it put us on the map really. So we always thought it belonged on our debut album. So we thought we couldn't put it on, given that it's technically signed over to them. So we just re-recorded our own version. Taylor Swifted them, do you know how it is, and took it back. But it's not really meant to replace the old one. The old one is like the OG, man. You never get, no matter whether you get a better recording or it sounds better or whatever, nothing will ever be the original recording of any song ever. It's just the way it is. So it's not meant to replace it, but it's just so we have a version that can sit on our album in it, and that's what it's done.
Life fulfills it all.
Yeah, man. It's it's a big part of our journey. That's what the album's about. It's it's a soundtrack of 4 mates growing up from boys into men together, and just going for their dreams, and that's the song that helped us get there. So it just deserves its place.
That's great.
In My Element, Pearce's version.
So you mentioned that you guys are now a fully independent band after Universal and everything, with no record label or any major management. What challenges have you guys come across in this journey?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because you're always fighting against these big corporations who kind of, because they are who they are. They've got so much power in who they can push into certain places, which is no shade. That's just the way the industry is, isn't it? And when you're at it on your own, you kind of have to make your own look a little bit. There's no one who can just pull in and draft a favour for you. You've got to kick that door down yourself. So, I mean, it's tough in that sense, trying to make yourself heard. But, we're lucky that we've got all of our fans who can do that job for us. And they've kind of made it so loud that these festivals and bookers and PR places, they can't ignore us anymore. So we're we've somehow it's got to that stage, and that's all down to our fans. But it's tough, man. You kind of have to, you don't really realise how much work needs to go into releasing a record until you do it independently without a label, ordering your vinyl, all that boring stuff, be here for hours. There was just days and days and days and weeks of organising and getting shit ready. So on our end, it couldn't fail. Yeah. But it's tough, man. But that's the reward of it, is that the album is ours. We own 100% of it. it's our product. And there is no one's clause in it telling us how it should be or trying to shape it. Like, it all came from us. So that's the reward of it. And it's a bit tough, like, doing it on your own, but we wouldn't have it any other way. That's just who this band is. So
Of course, and I think it's a bit more personal that it's all yourself. And growing up as four lads from Brum and being able to make it to this stage that you're at now, it's just incredible, really.
On the back of that, do you guys see yourself eventually finding a record label to then maybe handle all those like logistical stuff for you that is a lot harder to sort of do when you're on tour all the time, or if you're focusing on bigger plans, or do you reckon you'll try keep it as low level and independent as you can until you really hit that next big step?
but to be honest, like, we haven't really that asked. It's like, like, if it gets to a stage where we have to be an independent band for the rest of our lives or the rest of our career, if that's the way it's gonna be, then that's, whatever's best for us, we'll take. Like, but if there's a team of people who want to get involved and come in, and we feel like they're the best fit for the job, and like want to take this band and can take us to a different level, then we'd be open to that. We're not too proud to be like, nah, we don't need anyone's help. If it's right for us, then we might take a leap and start working with someone else. But yeah, as I said, if it ends up being the four of us against the world, like, we've already done like 8 years of it. So what's another like 30? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's similar to the Ratings as well. They're
Man.
fully independent. I think they have their own company, right?
Yeah, but maybe that's what it might get to that stage for us, like, in that, if the best thing for us is creating our own label and releasing our music through that, and then maybe in the future, like, helping other bands out, if things take off for us and we're in a position to do so, that'd be a dream. But yeah, we're just, like, we ain't really laying a path of how we want it to go. We're just gonna go with the flow, man, and see what's what and what comes in and what happens. But the Ratings, like, we did their tour a couple of years ago, and we were in a bit of a struggling period at that point, just after COVID. Like, we didn't really know whether to stick or twist, what to do, like, what direction to take. Like, we're in no man's land a bit, and we went on tour with them and seen them market their album, and the fact they've done it all completely on their own, like, it's mad inspiring, and so that's, to be fair, they kind of made us see that it is possible. You don't need to have these people like pushing you. Like, it seems so out of reach, like, sometimes, but you can just do it by yourself. So, and I think we kind of proved that in it, and they're the the pioneers of that in recent times. So yeah,
they're paving the way for all independent bands, not just you guys, but there's millions, absolutely millions.
Yeah, mate, there's so many you ain't heard of. Like, from where we're from, half the bands that when we started out were gigging with us in and around Birmingham, half of them just don't really like exist anymore. And it's not because they weren't good. Like, when we were like 18 and that, there was so many better bands than we were. We were shit. We were so fucking shit. But it's hard to persevere when you're on your own sometimes and break through. And that's maybe the difference with us is that, like, we didn't really know how to accept the word no, and we were just like, no, we'll carry on. Like, in reality, we probably should have stopped like fucking 8 years ago. But yeah,
Good thing you didn't.
Yeah, man,
Just gotta be persistent.
So you shared on social media recently what your reactions to one of your first ever gigs.
Bro, I remember it going off in there.
Yeah.
What has changed since those early days? I know you've mentioned that you were crap back then, but obviously you've grown so much to now. What's changed?
I don't really have an answer for that. Like, it's I couldn't really tell you. When you watch like those videos and stuff, like, we were genuinely like 16-year-old kids who didn't really know who they were. Like, we were all trying to find out kind of who we were as people and as a band. Like, so I think there's not really anything I can put my finger on and kind of what changed. Like, we had to work quite hard at making ourselves presentable. Do you know what I mean? and trying to improve and writing music and playing together as a band and like interacting with a crowd. But I think it's quite nice because you can. I don't think there's enough of that anymore. Like I can't really single out any bands in the past like couple of decades as a couple like that. You can see that journey from they started out as kids, and you can watch them evolve from being 16 to like mid-20s and just finding their craft. And that a lot of the things that you see now, for better or worse, like and some great artists now, but I feel like music's lacking like a little bit of a success story at the minute. When you like see like Oasis come back this year, and they just started as like, four just banging average normal lads from a estate in Manchester, and they've fucking turned out to be the biggest rock stars that Britain's ever seen. They've come from nothing. Like it's like I think music needs that kind of thing, that soul, like you can see in people's journey, and that they've they haven't been given anything for free. They've had to go and earn it. So yeah, I kind of like that. It's something we're quite proud of, and knowing that we were fucking shit. Like, we were shit. Like we were so bad. We used to cover every like Arctic Monkeys song, Oasis song in the book, man, and thought we were the dog's bollocks. Like we just weren't. But yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool. It's good to see.
Would you say that now it's almost a case of a lot of stuff is too fabricated? Not fabricated, but it's too polished.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I just think the scope of it's changed a little bit, Obviously, like the way that people consume media and stuff, like, the way that I mentioned Oasis again, like the way they were, found, was in like a venue in Glasgow. That rarely happens anymore, doesn't it? Like, you're rarely gonna get just some big A&R from a label just happening to be at some gig and going, oh my god, who's this? And then there's your next, biggest band out the UK. Like people, you see it coming from TikTok or any other form of social media, and like, there's some great talent that you can handpick from there. And it doesn't make the artist any worse. That's just the way the world is. But I don't think it's like any more polished than that. It's just a little bit different. But it's nice to see like the grit in things and the raw kind of realness in an artist's journey. So I guess that's what we're trying to hold on to. Maybe we're just traditionalists, but yeah, in terms of like the wider scope of music, man, there's some great artists about at the minute, like really really good shit coming, and hopefully it's going to change the tide a bit, and indie and rock music are going to go back to the forefront where it was in the 90s, man. Like you look at bands like Wonder Horse, Fontaines and that. Sam Fender's like the pioneer of it all in the past like 5-6 years, and he's like one of my big inspirations. So yeah, it's good, man.
When it comes to, obviously you mentioned A&R, sort of they're not going to just stumble into like a venue anymore. Well, it can happen, but it's not as common. Is that mostly because of social media and the role it plays? Like, would you sort of say that is probably the best advice you can give to a band? That's just stick to the social media and sort of grow it from there.
I don't think so, because I think in social media, like you can kind of get yourself pigeonholed into this kind of like modern day thing where everybody's obsessed with numbers and little red hearts and shit, and that equals kind of value on your work, and like it doesn't really, like obviously it's like we know because we've had to graft it, but it is the main tool in getting yourself out there. Like you have to use it, like, but always and still will be the best way to make shit happen for yourself is to go out and start playing some gigs, man. You can get as many views on TikTok, but nothing will ever beat like standing on a stage and looking into like the whites of someone's eyes and playing your songs and like this is us. Like you'll never no kind of phone media consumption will ever beat that. So I think like if you were to ask that to like a label A&R, like they would say like it's social media, it's TikTok, like you gotta get fucking short form content out and all this fucking bollocks. Like it's which the harsh reality of it is probably true, and like you have to do it, but just go out and fucking play gigs, man. That's how you'll find out who you are, and that's how you'll get your fans. That's how we got our fans. Do you know what I mean? We went out and played in literally every nook and cranny everywhere, like every shithole you could find. Like we've probably stood on a stage there. So yeah, that's the best way to do it, in my opinion.
That's when you're at your rawest and your most like authentic.
Yeah, that's music, man. Like I mean, we've done it. Everybody's done it in the industry, but you can play as many covers as you want in a wooded area, in front of a camera on a tripod. But you know, getting out and being on stage, I think that's what it's about. So
Yeah, that's what makes the connection.
So joining you on this tour is the Kairos. Absolutely amazing band. We're big fans of them. Bit of a corny question, but if you could support any band on tour, supporting them, who would it be?
ooh, I'm not really sure. Like there's so many fucking questions. I think we'd always said like I'd love to see how like the Rolling Stones work day to day. Do you know, like be on that tour with like them fucking rock stars, because they're like the oldest ones that are left, really, ain't it? Like, you know, as a band that's still going.
Still together.
Yeah, it's like I'd love to be on a tour like that. Yeah, I think that would probably be my pick, man. I'd love to see how Mick Jagger just lives day to day. Like apparently he does 10k runs and that every morning. Like, he's like mid-80s, isn't it?
He doesn't rack up anymore. He just runs.
Yeah, man. There's no. I think they've all gone teetotal. They all get their blood changed and that as well. It's like mental, fucking. But yeah, I'd love to have a window into what their life is. So I'm gonna go with the Stones. Yeah.
Who do you think the other guys would say just quickly before we go?
Before we go, me and Liam would definitely say the Stones. Defo. God knows who Johnny would say.
John's favourite band?
Who would Johnny want to go on a tour with?
Anyone who met him, I think.
Anyone who met him. Yeah, he'd probably go like the Strokes or someone.
Strokes.
They're back.
That's
I'd
not a bad
love
shout.
to go on tour.
That's what I was
with
just saying, they're back as
Strokes.
well.
Sorry, yeah, I'd love to go on tour with the Strokes.
Any
man.
band ever get more
Yeah.
support.
Yeah, we don't get many supports in it, so like maybe it's because we're from Birmingham. Like. Yeah.
Well, that's the last question we had. Thank you so much for letting us do this.
Nah, man,
Yeah, really
thanks a lot,
appreciate
man.
it, yeah.
It was really great to meet you both. Yeah.
Looking forward to the show as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
should be a
man,
good
we'll
one.
we'll have a good night in there. Fucking
16.
Roof off the garage. God, we ain't playing 16. I'm gonna be ambiguous about it. Like, we're playing electric though. Electric.
All right,
we might play
halfway
16
there.
at some point. You know, down the line somewhere for a bit of fun.
If
but-
we manage to get the whole crowd to chant it,
yeah, that's
Even then, it ain't happening.
even then it ain't happening.
Don't think we remember how to play.
Yeah, we don't. That's not, you know, us being stubborn like fucking. I can't remember the chords, man.
oh seriously,
All the words.
I haven't played it that long.
No, I'm only messing. I don't. The amount of times we played that song, like, I don't think there's any way you forget the chords. But maybe
It's literally just
one
muscle
day.
memory.
Maybe one day, innit?
Maybe
Maybe
one
one day we'll come back to it.